Dear people of Amazonia, fellow brave warriors of the liberation movement of the southern Cameroons, accept liberation greetings from me, Comrade John Akuro, this day. Today is Wednesday, and today is the 26th day of February in the year 2025. We are just 2 days to the end of the month of February. I want to extend special salutes to all our people, wherever they may be, Southern Cameroonians, aka Amazonians, all over the world in the diaspora, on ground one, ground two, and on ground zero. I want to send special salutes to our self-defense volunteers, those ones who are still standing in the gap, who are still standing so strong, so tall, and fighting for a better tomorrow for the people of the Southern Cameroons. I extend particular salutes to this class, to this category, because these are people who are facing all kinds of situations right now. They are facing tribulations, sometimes even from the very people they are fighting for. They are facing tribulations, even sometimes from the people they trust, and they are facing tribulations. And these tribulations because the moniker Amber Boy is being seriously used by members of the armed forces of La République du Cameroun, the invading forces of La République du Cameroun. Mr. Paul Biya's talks, a good lot of them are now also using the moniker Amber Boys to go harass people in their homes in the night, knock at doors, threaten people, to kidnap people dressed in civilian attire, kidnap people, and demand ransoms in the name of so-called Amber Boys. We have hardened bandits who were sent out of prison yards in La République du Cameroun, Douala, Yaoundé, Bafoussam, and others, and sent into the southern Cameroons, particularly in Bamenda, to go perpetuate this evil of kidnapping for ransom, just to tarnish the image of the self-defense volunteers, of our freedom fighters, and of our liberation movement. They have done this to good effect because to some extent they have succeeded in turning some very dedicated minds against our liberation movement. My people of Amazonia, I take this opportunity to reiterate to all those who still care to listen that what we are locked in is a fight for our own very existence. I mean, a fight for our own very existence. So we are locked in an existential fight. This calls on each and every one of us, rather than being bitter, to be vigilant. Because by being vigilant, we shall be able to overcome all those internal challenges. There are also external challenges that have become internal. When I say external challenges that have become internal, you have these hardened bandits that were sent out of prison yards in La République du Cameroun and, taken to our land. You have those who were thieves before who are simply continuing the activity that was, their sport of predilection. You have thugs from La République du Cameroun, soldiers, police, gendarmes, who today disguise in civilian attire and, carry things, charms like Amber Boys to pose as Amber Boys so they can, go ahead to extort from the people. And you have this kidnapping for ransom rings. All of this, they are now more or less internal challenges because we have to be able to get to that place where our people know how to identify who is who. It will remain a challenge. But we cannot give up the fight for freedom. We cannot give up the fight to restore the soul of our land. We cannot give up the fight to ensure that future generations of Southern Cameroonians, of Amazonians, live in freedom, live in a free, prosperous, and democratic society where there will be opportunities for each and everyone, where people will not gravitate to the various heights in life just because of who they know, just because of where they come from, or just because of the language that they speak. My dear people of Amazonia, I know it's hard. We are all undergoing this pain. But like Comrade Jojo Ambazo said in a video that I, of course, decided to share on this platform, he made clear what we have started doing today is to spend time amplifying more the errors, the mistakes, and the exactions of our self-defense fighters, of our freedom fighters, than we do the exactions of the enemy. Because look at this. There are two incidents now right before us. I have called on those handlers of the only bro, of freedom fighter, Braveheart, the only bro in Bamising, to reach out to him and to let him know that the people are his first line of defense. And while we understand that some of those acts of taking on the civilian population are despicable and unacceptable, I have taken time up on this platform to call on the civilian population to avoid putting themselves in harm's way by doing what? By deciding to be enablers of the colonial administration, by refusing to be the enablers of the invading forces from La République du Cameroun, by refusing to be their spies, to be their telltales, to be those who are seeking to, direct them to the hideouts of the freedom fighters. Because when that happens, these are people who carry weapons. They bear in their minds that the only thing that will keep them alive is that they take away any obstacle that is likely to result to their deaths. And this is a problem because they carry weapons, and at the first error, they are prone to wanting to use those weapons. Soldiers commit excesses everywhere. True, soldiers commit excesses everywhere. It is not something glorious. It's not something acceptable. But this is because within the ranks, sometimes by dint of the conditions in which they work, by dint of the places that they live at, by dint of the kind of things that they do to stay courageous and strong enough to fight, they end up with mental health challenges. And so therefore, at the least provocation, they will use the weapons that they have. This is why I take time always to tell our people, the civilian population in the various communities, do not allow yourself to be used by the members of the CPDM crime syndicate, the colonial administration, and the invading forces from La République du Cameroun. Because once they understand that you are a go-between them, too often they will tell you they don't have places to punish you and keep you, they will cause you harm. And it's a thing that we decry. Because like I said, today we have two situations at hand. We have a situation where the only boy is accused of having killed some civilians. I read that about 5 in number. There is the other one where the invading forces from La République du Cameroun raided in Pinyin in a night and killed 6 innocent young men who were just having fun in a bar. I have said also here, don't find yourself out of your house after 6-7 p.m. Must you drink and stay late in the bars? Buy the drinks, go and drink in your house. We are at war. And when this kind of things happen, we are going to run into trouble. We are at war. When there is war, when you go out carelessly, you may put yourself in harm's way. I say this always. And some people say you are being alarmist. There are a lot of our people who have lost their lives because they were out there after 9, after 10, just doing the wrong thing. Hold yourself. This one too will pass. And you will have the opportunity to go out there and enjoy your life. For now, the times are not normal. And when times are not normal, we do things that are done when times are not normal. Not long ago, in Pinyin, that's about 2 weeks only ago, in Pinyin, the young people out there came out and they said that some young people had come out terrorizing people in the community, capturing people, beating people, collecting things, seizing money, and all of those things. And so they went on the rampage and they immediately concluded that these people who did this act were the freedom fighters. True or false, no one can tell. But they decided to go to the first camp that they identified, that there were freedom fighters there. They arrested 2 young men there, who with their weapons, overpowered them, took them, killed them in the most brutal manner, dragged them, roasted them alive, and celebrated, and said they were going to spend all their time doing just that. And that was in the interest of La République du Cameroun. The very next week, what happens? La République du Cameroun now comes in to say thank you. This is what I've talked about. And this is why I continually say on a daily basis that we have elders in all our communities. When there is something that we don't agree with, let these elders rise to the occasion. Go out there. They are your children. You approach them and they find that you are deliberately coming to approach them, to meet them, to talk with them. They won't harm you. They are your children. Sit them. Talk to them. Try to educate. This is how we do it. Remind them always too that you picked up these sticks, these arms to fight, to protect your people, not to fight against them. When we fail to carry out this education, it has to be a continuous process. When we fail to also sit down and listen to some of the challenges that they are facing and try to discuss with them how to overcome these challenges, we end up with what we end up. And now see, the very next day, La République du Cameroun arrives. And that is La République du Cameroun coming there in Pinyin. Should I say to say thank you? It's hard. That's what they came and did. Because they bear in mind that the self-defense, or rather the freedom fighters or the self-defense army that they were facing vicissitudes in Pinyin. And so they decide this is the best time to invade. Because they know that when the local community, when the people are in tandem and in synergy with the self-defense volunteers, what happens? They will notify the self-defense volunteers. We have seen those invading forces passing around here. It's likely they are going to this direction. As they get to the next location, people around there will notify them. And so these people know that they are likely to be notified of their presence. And so they become very crafty and they will avoid coming in at some of those kind of Nicodemus hours to carry out some of these kind of exactions. But when they know that the avenue is free, they will say they got to a place, say, because the simple fact that you are Southern Cameroonian, that you are Ambazonian, the simple fact that you are an agile young man, you are already a threat to them. And that is the only crime you have committed. They will gun you down. And tomorrow they will say you were freedom fighters, you were Amber Boys, you were suspected Amber Boys. That's what they will say. Just because you are a man, you are agile, make sure you are not at the wrong place, at the wrong time, and with the wrong company, and doing the wrong thing. This is the problem that we face. So they got into Pinyin in the deep of the night on February 23. That's 3 days ago. And as you see on my screen, they say Pinyin families are in distress and seeking answers after soldiers abducted multiple young men during a military raid on the night of February 23, 2025. So they are giving some of the names here. For Mendu Derek Penn, a graduate from Polytechnic Bambili with a degree in electricity, was blindfolded, handcuffed, and taken away in a military truck. Until this day, nobody knows where he is. The military also allegedly took another young man, Mulu Ernest Mbu. Both young men remain missing. But 6 unarmed civilians, this is Mimi Mefo. Because too often she don't say unknown. It says 6 unarmed civilians were killed by the military during the raid. And you can see on my screen there the faces of some of those people who were killed. It is painful. It is such a shame. I feel horrified when I look at things like this. And I say things like this should not be happening. They should not be happening in our land. Because we're supposed to be fighting. We're supposed to be defending our land. We're supposed to be making it impossible for the Republic to prevail in our land. But today, we sleep on our laurels. Today, we lie on our laurels. Because there are some in our midst who are pouring nonsense into the people's heads and trying to make our people believe some falsehood, some serious falsehood, that we are one, that there is someone and indivisible somewhere with La République du Cameroun. Whereas a delegation from the United Nations, representing the Secretary General of the United Nations in 2010, made clear on CRTV cameras, in the picture that you are seeing, that we are clearly two, clearly divisible, clearly different, that we have never been one. The United Nations in their records don't even have us as one, because that's why they come there with two maps. You see the smaller map the other way, that is the map of the Southern Cameroons. And the one standing, that is the map of La République du Cameroun. And the officials standing there are UN officials. And the Moron standing there in front of them is called Paul Biya, President of La République du Cameroun. They came to remind him that the United Nations know this as two separate territories that definitely came together. Because the silent question here is, what happened to Southern Cameroons? Because today you have Republic of Cameroon. When the two merged together, it was called the Federal Republic of Cameroon, became United Republic of Cameroon. Today we have La République du Cameroun, a country that existed on the 1st of January 1961, when Southern Cameroon was yet to be independent. How? Where are we today? And some people allow themselves to continue vehicling rubbish, trash, about someone and indivisible, or about some kind of belonging to La République du Cameroun. My people of Ambazonia, if you set out on a journey and you realize that as you are going, you are meeting no obstacle, and you are going to seek a treasure, trust me, there is nothing on that path. There is nothing ahead. You will meet nothing. There is nothing worth the energy right ahead. But when you meet obstacles, a lot of obstacles, you face tribulations as you are going, know that at the end of that journey will be a crown. This is what we are facing. We are facing this because La République du Cameroun, with their apparatchiks in our midst, are doing everything to derail us, to take our minds away from what we believe in, to take our hearts away, to take our focus away from the freedom we seek, so that we will think that it makes a lot more sense to stay in slavery and servitude. We must man up to face the challenges before us, to face the intruders in our liberation movement. We must man up to identify and work with those people who are fighting tooth and nail to ensure that we have freedom. This is our second duty. That is only how we will be able to set our land free. So look at in Pinyin. The youths were engineered. They were misled. They were intoxicated by a certain my country people then, intoxicated by members of the CPTM crime syndicate, to go out there and say, we are going to fight, or we will weed them out of here, we belong to La République du Cameroun. The very 2 weeks afterwards, what is happening? They are mourning. The whole of Pinyin is mourning. Mourning in whose hands? In the hands of La République du Cameroun. The same La République du Cameroun that are people who have stood up to fight against are facing challenges from you. And you see there, that is a cut from Deutsche Welle. Deutsche Welle is a German-based international news outlet. It says 6 unarmed civilians were reportedly killed and 2 others wounded in Pinyin, a village in Cameroon's northwest or whatever, on Sunday, February 23. Local sources report that the attack targeted a popular pub frequented by separatist fighters. This has led to accusations from local residents that the Cameroon military was responsible. No official statement has been released by Cameroonian authorities regarding the reports. The paramount ruler of the Pinyin clan, His Majesty Kenneth Kan Asobo III, Kenneth Kan Asobo was before a journalist at CRTV, urged his people to remain calm in an official letter. The reports follow an incident on February 19 when separatist fighters in Bamesen were accused of killing 5 civilians. Okay, then they go now to talk about the history and all of those things. Like I said, Now look at this. I've combed a lot of WhatsApp or social media forums where the people who come with outrage, oh, these boys, they're exaggerating. No, better we go back to where we were. Why did we even start? We did not start this. Southern Cameroon did not start this. Ambazonian did not start this. Our people picked up arms to defend themselves. This whole brutality started in 2016, ran through from January 2017. It was at the end of November. At the end of November of 2017, after the people had been molested, tortured, people killed, abducted, looted, that the people decided to run into their bedrooms and carry their dang guns. Those who carried machetes, those who carried whatsoever to defend themselves. Today, some even have the guts to say they want to give the impression that we were responsible for starting this thing. Whoa, first start this thing. That's a statement you hear. No, we didn't. What you see is La République du Cameroon's approach permanently. I said here 1 million times, they never change their tactics. They use the same tactics. They use the evil ones among us. They use the people among us with black hats who are ready to get blood money any day, anytime, anyhow, to achieve their objective. Because as you say in that report, you would have expected that by now. Those who are calling themselves, making noise that they are members of parliament from the southern Cameroons, you should have seen them by now climbing on the rostrum to condemn such an act. Hell no, not one of them has spoken. Not one, not even the one claiming that is representing that area where Pinyin is. Not one. Those who call themselves senators, not one has reason to say a word. Those who call themselves elite, members of the CPDM crime syndicate, not one. Even those who say they are close to the people in the opposition, I've not heard a word from Joshua Osi's mouth. Not a word from the lips of Aneganse Mochigal. So he's a senator from the opposition SDF. And this is his constituency. One word from his lips, no. This is what it is. Yet, you will find them running their mouths and screaming, oh, those boys in Bamising, we will deal with them. Where is that lost soul calling himself son of Bamising, who is now a refugee in Douala? Not one word from his mouth. It is painful. It is ridiculous. But my people, verily I say it unto you. This fight will not end until we send La République du Cameroun out of our land. This is a fight for our own very existence. I say it and I repeat it every day. Those of you who have backtracked on this fight, I assure you, La République du Cameroun doesn't spare anyone. They will not get to your door and say, no, this person is no longer in the struggle. They are after everyone. The only crime you have committed is that you are Southern Cameroonian. And if you are a young man, it makes the situation worse. This is why we must continue to finance this struggle. This is why we must continue to finance this liberation movement. This is why I always put this here. And I want to thank those who in trickles are coming in and putting some little thing to enable us to continue to send our foot soldiers. I was saying here a while ago, these foot soldiers are so important for us because they are the ones who are helping to stabilize the situation, to rebuild the relationship between our freedom fighters and the civilian communities in the various localities, to make sure that we minimize civilian lives. If you want to help, hurry quickly. Go to PayPal or Zelle you are using, amberrelief2018@gmail.com. Your widow's mite will be of help, of great help. I say this to you, and I repeat it always, even as I move ahead. I always say, evil people always support each other. That is their chief strength. Evil people always support each other. That is their chief strength. I say this always. I repeat it. I reiterate it because I want it to sink. When Alexander said this, he knew exactly what he was talking about. I say when Alexander said this, he knew exactly what he was talking about. That evil people always support each other. That is their chief strength. But those of us who say we are not evil people, who say we stand for the downtrodden, who say we want to fight for those who do not have a voice, we want to fight for those who are weak, we are the people who are very vulnerable to manipulation, very vulnerable to disinformation, very vulnerable to propaganda we easily give up. But the evil people, they persist always in the evil that they are doing and they support each other. That is their chief strength. The moment the forces for good decide to continually support each other all the way to the end, we will be able to minimize the impact of the evil of those who always work in solidarity to bring us pain. Because even as this is going on, someone who calls himself divisional officer for, Ndu? He calls himself, is it Shaibu or something of the sort? He is telling the people of Ndu that he, Angala Gerard, and Musa Shameful, and Callistus Full Gentry, they are preparing another Ngabu. Why will he say openly that another Ngabu will soon happen? Because after the first incident, when they burned 21 school children and a pregnant woman, and then vulnerable senior citizens alive, nothing happened to them. After months of claiming that it was an act carried out by our freedom fighters, and then with overwhelming evidence from Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, when La République du Cameroun finally accepted responsibility, they claimed they were going to bring those who caused that carnage, who carried out that genocidal act in Gabo, to book. Until today, Ngala Gerard, who in a forum, of course, let me have my face on the screen as I say this, because I know Ngala Gerard does watch me, and I know he should be watching this, that I met him in a social media forum. And when I was talking about this, Ngala Gerard owned up that he was the owner of all the Fulani foot soldiers in that he was the owner of all the Fulani foot soldiers in Dongamantu. He said it was clear. So that Fulani militia that worked with the La République du Cameroun B to carry out that genocidal act on the people of Ngabo did that in collaboration or at the behest of Ngala Gerard, Musa Shameful, Callistus Full Gentry, and Shea Jones Yembe. But the most pronounced are Ngala Gerard. But he's moving all over Douala and Yaoundé and getting himself called le Monsieur à la Rolls Royce. Shameful, disgusting, horrible, yet it's happening. And so, as you can see on that tweet, they say the Biya military continued raids in Ndu and Bazonia. Innocent plus pregnant women and children picked up and beaten to near death because an IED device near their homes took out military truck. An IED device exploded close to their home and took out a military truck. Oh yes, and so therefore, that becomes their crime. It happened near their house, close to their house. Were they involved? How would they know? How would they know if somebody did something at that area? But now they face collective punishment. And the colonial divisional officer by name Shaibu tells them that as it stands, He tells them that as he stands, another Gabu is coming. Oh, yes. He says another Gabu. That was say the angry DO warns of second Gabu. So that DO is telling them, I will soon call in Gala Jera. I will soon call in Musa Shameful. I will soon call in Shea Jones Yembe and Kalitus Full Gentry. And they will unleash their Fulani militia here. What would they be? And they will roast civilians here. Of course, nothing happened to anyone the last time it happened. Nothing. All they heard were empty condemnations from the United Nations, empty condemnations from in international bodies and the likes. And so they are more than willing to continue. But why all this is going on? Why all this is going on? What are we seeing? Those who call themselves the custodians of our traditions, those who call themselves our traditional rulers, who are naturally picked by us to reign over us, not a single one of them has made a statement. Kevin Shomitan should be somewhere there in Bamenda waiting to fight over power. But to open your mouth and issue a press release to condemn what is happening in Du, to condemn what is happening in Pinyin, what happened in Pinyin, no. We will only see you and those now that are called traditional mendicants, because we call beggars more than enough, come out there to hatch a communicate to say how those who are fighting to free our land should drop their weapons and surrender into prison and surrender into near death in some moribund structures called DDR. They were not just silent. They were even out there, as you can see from this picture. Those are your so-called traditional rulers. Those are your royal beggars out there doing what they know how to do best. Those are your royal beggars out there doing what they know how to do best. And what they know how to do best is go out there for racketeering. As you can see on my screen, they say uproar from natives from Northwest as the Minister of Finance, Louis-Paul Motaze, received on February 24, that's just 2 days ago, a large delegation of traditional chiefs of the Northwest region led by His Majesty Fonteche Nje II, the current superior chief of the Ngemowa group. Here, they say Ngemowa group, they don't even know. It's the superior chief of the Ngemowa group. Fonteche Nje is a third class son. He can't be a superior chief. He's a third class. He's not even second class, he's third class. You can't call it superior. Go and say chef superior. In the West, they are talking of first class. That's third class. That's all they are specialized in. So why the people are there being tortured? You see what is happening to them. And that's when you see the handler of this platform is a citizen of La République du Cameroun. That's why he says superior chief of the Ngemowa group. And then somebody now says, could you just refer to them as a group of traditional beggars instead? These traditional rulers are going to be the next set of problems we are going to encounter in this country. Traditional rulers made civil servants. That's the comment that I find there because of disgust, because of this belief that while there are serious issues in the land, while the people they are supposed to be ruling, to be lording over, are facing carnage every day, are facing dehumanization, are being looted, are being tortured, their wives being raped, their children being raped, their sons being killed. Those who are supposed to be custodians of the traditions, who are supposed to be ruling and reigning over them, are busy out there begging. That's what they are doing. They're busy out there causing with the colonizer, causing with the oppressor, causing with the genocidal system in Yaoundé. Oh yes. You find them. Here they are. Those are the members of that delegation. That's Fontaine there, the second one that you can see in the middle there. This is what they are specialized in. You will never hear them rise to condemn the barbaric acts of the military of La République du Cameroun, of the genocidal forces of La République du Cameroun on our people. This is why I tell our people, this fight is existential. See them. There they are. Moving around, certainly with titles in hand. I am honestly beginning to agree with those who are saying some of these people, as soon as we send out La République du Cameroun from our land, we have to strip them of these traditional titles and let them go back to living in their communities as ordinary citizens, because they have disgraced, they have desecrated their calling. They have desecrated their calling beyond recognition. I mean, desecrated completely. There is nothing left. Absolutely nothing left. Nothing. Nothing. There they are. Absolutely nothing left. There they are in Yaoundé. In the office of the Minister of Finance, Louis Paul Motaze, himself also has presidential ambition. That is their new mantra. While there are tears, while there is wailing in Pinyin, while there is wailing all over the land, that is what they are specialized in doing. You can see whose side they are on. They are not on the side of the people. They are not on our side. At the same time, while they are doing that, their counterparts from the foreign zone, I initially showed this, and I mean it was an error of placing. Their counterparts from the foreign zone gathered in Limbe, in Victoria, to say they are calling on Mr. Paul Biya. They are calling on the 92-year diaper-wearing Paul Biya, 92-year-old diaper-wearing Paul Biya, to be their candidate at the next presidential election. That a diaper-wearing old man should come quickly, hurry quickly to come be their candidate. Maybe if he is not, some of them will commit suicide. Yeah, that's what they gathered to do in Limbe. They said it was a meeting of the Southwest Chiefs Conference, as they called it, but it shaped up finally to be a meeting to say that they are on their stomachs, that they are crawling on their stomachs. They will even go on hunger strike if Paul Biya does not accept to be their candidate at the next presidential election and go and launch that election campaign in Biya. Of course, they know that Biya does not even work. Biya could not even attend his own birthday celebration that took place before his nostrils in Yaoundé. He could not attend his own birthday celebration. No, he couldn't. As you can see here, he could not. Yet, those lost souls, calling themselves chiefs, say chiefs appeal to Biya to launch campaigns in Southwest. Pathetic. Why their children are being decimated and destroyed. But my people, I tell you the truth. La République du Cameroun itself is a kingdom seriously divided upon itself. That is why, instead of crying over spilled milk a lot of the time, we need to come together and prepare, because the hour is coming, and that hour is close, always close. We spend time focusing on our so-called division. La République du Cameroun itself is far more divided than us. But the one thing that unites them is their hatred against the people of the southern Cameroons. The one thing that unites them is their desire to visit pain and tribulations on our people. The one thing that unites them is their desire to loot our people beyond recognition. One thing that unites them is their desire to keep you and I under slavery and servitude, under total subjugation for life. What is supposed to unite you and me should be our disdain against colonial occupation. What is supposed to unite you and me should be our anger against the evils, the evil exactments of La République du Cameroun on our people. Even if we have internal disagreements, that is what is supposed to unite us. My people of Ambazonia, we will take a short break And when we come back, I will demonstrate to you just how fragmented and disoriented La République du Cameroon is. So that those of you who have stopped making contributions to this liberation movement, those of us who have stopped, should return to making sure we fuel this liberation movement. Because this freedom that we are seeking, there is no alternative to it. The alternative, you and I don't want to think about it. Let's take a quick break.
Amazonia, in your life, never to fall again. Yes, Biya, if you don't be a Satan, why be say anytime we want something, we go benefit and go vote. We get for fight, protest with brothers and sisters, and they get for die. See, University of Biya, University of Bamenda, when we fight with GC board, all the social francophone they don't take it over. Don't be so? Yes, that's so. Where we be think say Pharmacy partner for them will go chop money something for get work will begin them. You don't bring your francophone, they don't take them over. You must be by say before one can join you. South in Cameroon, they became the first democratic government for inside Africa. When people don't vex for 2016, say enough is enough, they get to take their country back. United Nations Resolution 1608.
Exactly. Since 2016, that people said enough is enough. We need to take back our country. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters, for that very beautiful number that actually retraces the history of our resistance. You're welcome back. My dear people of Amazonia, I was saying a while ago that La République du Cameroun itself is so seriously divided. Very, very, very divided. And so, we shouldn't think that division is only a function of what we are facing in our liberation movement. And that should not turn us away from bringing in all the support that we need, however we bring it, whichever angle we bring it, to make sure we fuel the resistance, tear La République du Cameroun out, and eventually kick them out of our land. You see, even within the government apparatus, the fighting is real. Look at this document here. You may say it's foreign news, but it's interesting. It just to illustrate something. Look at this document here. You see that document is written by Ferdinand Gongo, who is it's signed by Ferdinand Gongo, who is Minister of State, Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic of La République du Cameroun. And in that document, he is addressing Atanga Ponji and calling Atanga Ponji Minister of Territorial Administration of La République du Cameroun to order in something that has been going on. He says, mise en place d'un système de centralisation et de surveillance de jeux en ligne au MINAT. This has to do with gaming, online gaming, online gaming that, make money. And so Atanga Ponji had come out with a communique indicating that he had created a centralized system in his office at the Ministry of Territorial Administration, and he named an enterprise known as InTouch, and said InTouch had the monopoly henceforth of managing all online games. But then, Ferdinand Gongo, in this correspondence that you see here, dated 6th of February 2025, tells Atanga Ponji, faisant suite à vos correspondances visées en référence, par lesquelles vous informez les entreprises de jeux et de paiement par téléphone de la mise en place au MINAT d'un système de centralisation de surveillance des jeux en ligne sous l'égide de l'entreprise InTouch. J'ai l'honneur de vous réitérer les thèmes de ma correspondance du 1er juillet 2024, donc 6 juin copie, vous informant des très hautes instructions de Monsieur le Président de la République du Cameroun répercuté au MINFI, prescrivant la mise en place par le partenaire InSoft au profit de la Direction générale des impôts de plateformes de captation automatique des chiffres d'affaires des entreprises de l'économie numérique, y compris celles de jeux d'argent et de hasard, tels que proposés par le MINFI. So, in fact, you don't understand French. Let me tell you what this is. So, Ferdinand Gongo is telling Atanga Ponji that this is a reminder, a call to order, because there was previously a correspondence issued in July. That was all the way back in July of 2024, informing Atanga Ponji that this sector, that is online gaming and monetary transactions by phone, and like what you have, those things you will call mobile money and all of this, that this fall within the competence of the Director General of Taxes at the Ministry of Finance, MINFI, and called on Atanga Ponji to immediately cease and desist. That was after Atanga Ponji issued this other document on the 22nd of January 2025, où c'est objet mise en place d'un système de sanctuarisation et de surveillance des jeux en ligne. And Atanga Ponji justified his claim on the fact that he has to monitor all online games and online monetary transactions, because all those electronic fund transactions fall within the domain of security. And he is the Archduke in charge of ensuring the security of the state. So he said, à cet égard, le partenaire, la société InTouch Cameroun, dont le siège est à Douala, a été retenu par l'administration. And he said, everything should be handled only through InTouch. So on the one hand, you have the Ministry of Finance with a structure that, the name is in NSoft. NSoft, the Ministry of Finance is out there with a structure known as NSoft, to whom they've attributed or granted a contract, signed a contract to carry out this particular activity, and Atanganji came in with his own InTouch for the same activity. This level of cacophony, and this comes to the fore just now because just a few days ago, Atanga Ponji sent out a warning letter to a company that he said was not cooperating with his instructions of the 22nd of January 2025, ignoring that there was a superseding instruction that came in on the 6th of February 2025. This level of cacophony tells you the deep divisions, the deep scissions that operate within the fabric of La République du Cameroun. And trust me, folks, they are fighting among themselves. We are seeing that. Of course, Atanga Ponji is even now calling himself a super minister. He's the Minister of Communication. He's the spokesman of the government. He's the Minister of Territorial Administration. He's the Minister of Finance. He's the Minister of Higher Education. He's the Minister of Defense. He's the Delegate General for National Security. He's the everything. I think he's even the Minister of Education and the Minister of Agriculture, the Minister of Mines, the Minister of Water and Energy, the Minister of everything, Atanga Ponji. Oh, did I say that? That he's also the Prime Minister. Now, with all this cacophony, you ask yourself, how are we able to let people like these ones, who can't even organize themselves, to lord it over us? We have spent time mourning over spilled milk, crying over spilled milk, over the mistakes we committed at the start of this liberation movement. And we want those mistakes to be what defines our movement, to be what will define our movement. No, we must be able to overcome them. We must be able to come over those challenges and face La République du Cameroun squarely. I'm going to get you to listen to Mesanga Nyamde, who tells you again another area where not only are they divided at the level of government, they are divided so seriously even at the level of the civilian population. Look here. I showed you what was happening in Meyosank the last time, where you had citizens from the west, from other parts of La République du Cameroun, including our refugees in the south region, being tortured, looted, chased away, and called strangers, and some killed. And like I said, at the last count, almost 10 people died in those things, but not a single newspaper in La République du Cameroun talked about it. Not even CLTV talked about it. But my next cut is to let you see how deep this divide is. The reason I'm telling us, we have to prepare for the ultimate moment. We need to get ready, because I'll never cease reminding us that success is when opportunity meets preparations. We cannot wait until the last minute and we start saying, oh my goodness, we missed this opportunity. We mustn't miss it, because we are locked in a fight for our own very existence. Watch Mesanga Nyamdi.
Mais ces gens exagèrent, qu'ils donnent un tout petit peu aussi aux autres. Ils détruisent l'État. Vous comprenez que ça gêne. Je vous dis que c'est pénible. Le président Biya dit, je maintiens l'équilibre régional dans la représentation parce que c'est le cadre référentiel de nos réalités. Regardez donc sur le plan fonctionnel. Et là, je vais vous prendre à témoin. Ce que le président Paul Biya a dit ici a été violé. Je vous prends quelques exemples. Quand vous prenez le nombre de gouverneurs au Cameroun, sur 10 gouverneurs, 5 sont issus de la même région.
Okay, so you hear, Mesanga Nyamding is taking us to what is called systemic tribalism. Systemic tribalism. Just to demonstrate to you the level, the depth of the malaise in that society. My people of Ambazonia, this is not a place where you and I can thrive. You hear, as he said, it just begins, that out of 10 governors, 5 are from one region. 5. How many regions are there? 10. But out of 10 governors, 5 are from one region. Of course, in the southern Cameroons, we have a colonial administration installed, both in Boya and Bamenda. But it says, out of 10 governors, 5 are from one region alone. 5. He continues.
Sud et Est. Certains sont mes amis. Est-ce que c'est l'unité? Lorsque vous prenez, j'entre dans le domaine de prédilection de mon estimé collègue, encore que je vais vous rappeler quelque chose.
Le domaine universitaire.
Avant le domaine universitaire.
Mais du domaine universitaire,
sur 10,
c'est ça.
Sur 10, je vous montre comment certains compromettent l'unité.
C'est des menaces à l'unité nationale. Hein?
Bien, des grandes menaces. Sur 10 gouverneurs, tout à fait. 5 sont issus de la même région. Centre, Sud et Est. Vous pouvez prendre le gouverneur du Nord, vous pouvez prendre le gouverneur de la région du Sud.
He's mentioning the governors that are from the same region. That of 10, 5 are from the same region. Center, South, East, Bulu, Ekan, Beti. That's what he's trying to say. Bulu, Ekan, Beti. He's going to other sectors. Let's follow. Wherever I deem it to stop and translate and interpret, I will.
Vous pouvez prendre le gouverneur de la région du Sud-Ouest, vous pouvez prendre le gouverneur de l'Est, et vous pouvez prendre mon frère et mon ami Ibaya. Ils sont tous issus de ce qu'on appelle Centre, Sud et Est. Sur 58 prophètes, 35 sont issus de la même région. Maintenant, je prends le...
Okay, you heard that. Out of 58 senior divisional officers, 58 SDOs. Out of 58 SDOs, 35, I mean as many as 35 are from the same Bulu, Ekan, Beti origin. 58, eh? Out of 58, 35. 35. So just 23 are left for the other regions. 35 are Bulu, Ekan, Beti. I'm not the one saying it, eh? It's Mesanga Nyamding saying this. And you know why in this video you are seeing the images of John Bull Foncha and the others and all whatnot? Because they're trying to remind themselves. They're trying to refresh our memories to the effect that we, the people of the southern Cameroons, have been treated in La République du Cameroun not only as strangers, but as subhumans and slaves.
Petit cadre que...
La région du centre?
Ah oui, centre, sud et est. Bien, je vous montre où est l'unité. Maintenant, j'entre dans le domaine de mon frère et ami, vieux et estimé collègue Aboya. On a 11 universités. L'université de Yaoundé 2, le recteur est du centre. Les deux chefs d'établissement, le chef de département, le chef, le doyen de la faculté des sciences juridiques et de politique Ondoa, il est du centre. Le doyen de la faculté des sciences économiques avant, il est du centre. La secrétaire générale de l'université de Yaoundé 2, elle est du centre. Où est l'intégration? Le vice-recteur lui-même, il est du centre, je l'ai oublié, lui-même, il est du centre comme le recteur. Il est là, c'est mon frère. Aboya est du centre, le recteur est du centre, les deux doyens sont du centre. Maintenant, avançons un petit peu. Prenez les grandes écoles. L'INAM, il est du centre. L'école normale, il est du centre. Lyrique, il est du centre. L'Estique, il est du centre. Polytech, il est du centre. Allons même dans ma petite maison lyrique.
So you see, I just want to stop briefly again and say, because you see, he's gone there inside the university system. You heard him talk about the University of Yaoundé too. He said, because the situation is presented in the University of Yaoundé too, he says it's a situation that prevails in all the universities. And he says, take a simple example. The University of Yaoundé too. The rector is from the Central region. The vice rector is from the Central region. The two, the deans from the Central region. The Secretary General, Central region. The two main heads of department, Central region. Oh yeah, that's vivre ensemble, right? That's national unity, right? And they'll call you to go and celebrate the lie on the 20th May, right? And then he tells you that look now at the major training schools that give into the public service. He just mentioned a few: Enam, Bulu, Ekambeti, IRIC, that's the International Relations Institute, Bulu, Ekambeti, ASMA, Bulu, Ekambeti, École Normale there, Bulu, Ekambeti, QS, Bulu, Ekambeti, Polytechnique there, Bulu, Ekambeti, all of that. Why do you want to find yourself in this kind of setup? The people themselves are telling you that this place is not only toxic, but it is horrible. It is hell. Yet some of our people do not recognize that we are locked in an existential fight, a fight for our own very existence. Follow again. Because at the same time, in our universities, in the southern Cameroons, they are still everywhere. None of us, none of our people dare go close. He did not mention the University of Ebolova that hired recently. There recently took tens, over 70 or 80 personnel. Not a single person from any other region. Any person that's not Bulu Ekambeti is not accepted at the University of Ebolova. But go to University of Bamenda. You will find the Bulu Ekambetis everywhere in the administration, in strategic positions. Go to Boya, the same Bulus Ekambeti. And the last time I mentioned Victor Julius Ngo, they are there in the most strategic positions. But in their zone, no. Go to Douala, they are the ones everywhere. But that is their country. It doesn't concern me. My worry is for our people, the people of Ambazonia, to understand this.
Le directeur du centre, chers collègues, monsieur le recteur, vous êtes notre patron. Je vous dis ce que j'ai eu à dire à deux au ministre Famandongo. Les 4 chefs de département de l'IRIC sont du centre.
Okay, that's what he said. He said he's narrowing down to IRIC, the International Relations Institute Cameroon, where he is a lecturer. And he says the director is from the center. And the 4 heads of department from the same center, or Bulu Ekampeti. And he says he had the opportunity to confront the Minister of Higher Education, Jacques Fameux Ndongo. My people of Ambazonia, I'm playing this just so that we understand that if even among themselves. They are fighting for those positions among themselves. Because in this case, Mesanga Nyamdi is talking because the people of the littoral are not involved. The people of Nyong Ekele, where he comes from, are not involved. Because the people of the West are not involved. The people of that are not involved. If a tiger can turn and eat its own very one, its own very young one, what will it not do to the flesh of a pig? What will it not do to the flesh of a pig? If they can't help themselves, can they help you and me?
Alain Didier Olinga, chef du département de droit international et du centre. Manjem, chef du département de l'intégration et du centre. Bachom, chef du département de politique internationale et du centre. Et Baébé, chef du département d'économie et du centre. Notre maison, que vous et moi, on s'est pas né, une école internationale. Laissons Yaoundé 2. Allons maintenant à Yaoundé 1. Le recteur est du Sud. Le vice-recteur, notre collègue, il est du Sud. Le doyen de la faculté de médecine est du Sud. Et les autres que j'ai déjà cités, je ne reviendrai pas là-dessus. Regardez quelque chose encore de très grave. Allez à l'université de Douala. L'université de Douala a 11 établissements. 11. Je vous dis 11. Sur les 11, 8 sont occupés par le centre sud et l'est. Je vais citer. Le recteur Ondoa est du centre. Asako est de l'est. Le doyen de la faculté des sciences juridiques et politiques à Cap, mon frère.
I'm going to die of laughter. You know why I want to die of laughter? Because this is exactly what I've been telling our people every day. Nothing good can ever come out of La République du Cameroun. Well, here Mesanga Nyamdi tells you, you know, he left the University of Yaoundé too, where almost everybody there was from the center region, although they are all Bulu Kambeti, but this were from the center. Then he now went to University of Yaoundé 1, where every other person, they all the high up there from the south. They share it among themselves, Bulu Ekambeti. And then he tells you, of course, he didn't go to Ebolova, like I said. In Ebolova, they are all from the south. And then he leaves from there. He now goes out of there and goes to Douala, University of Douala. And he tells you there are 11 specialized schools, specialized institutions under the University of Douala. 8 of them, that's in the littoral, 8 of them are manned by Bulu Ekambeti. Let him come to the southern Cameroon. He's getting there.
Il est du Sud. Le doyen de la faculté de sciences économiques, Mokolo, il est du centre. Le doyen de la faculté de lettres, il est du Sud. Le directeur de l'ESSEC, il est du Sud. Mais entre nous, où est l'unité? L'unité fonctionnelle, l'unité opérationnelle. Vous voyez donc que, et je vais pas confisquer la parole.
Mais ils sont nommés par décret, mais Sanganyamdi. C'est votre champion auquel vous vous identifiez qui signe ces décrets.
Je vais vous dire une vérité. Le président signe parce qu'il fait confiance à ses collaborateurs. Si on vient vous dire qu'un décret...
So you see as a reminder that Paul Biya is the one signing all of those things, and he, Mesanga Nyamdi, is a member of the CPDM crime syndicate. He says, oh well, Paul Biya signs these things because he trusts his collaborators. Paul Biya signs them because he trusts his collaborators. He doesn't check. He doesn't listen. He doesn't care. He's not aware of anything. He is a dulat. He is a figurehead. He doesn't know anything. All he knows is to be in power. And that is why you will find the people like Atanga Ponji, the people like Joseph John Gute, the people like my friend Professor Elvis Ngole, the people like Callistus Fu Gentry, Fu Jonathan Mojimbi, the people like my good friend too, Atem Ebako, the people like Ngaringa Belamoki Charles, the people like Musonge Peter, Mafani, all of these people, the people like Shea Jones Yembe, all of these people, like Callistus Fu Gentry, all of these people, and Regina Mundi, who are feeding fat on the system, all of these people will tell you they will kill all of us to make sure they maintain Paul Biya there, to make sure they force us to be under that system, because as long as that system is in place, they are able to get access to everything they want. And so therefore, your well-being and my well-being is not their concern. Your well-being and my well-being is not their concern. We are on our own. I have said this before, and I'm repeating. That is why we have to fight like hell, like people who know that they are on their own.
Ne se prépare pas, c'est faux. C'est pourquoi je vous ai toujours dit qu'il est pris en otage, les gens le plombent et ne lui donnent pas l'impression que, effectivement, ce qui signe est toujours correct. Si c'est lui qui signe même ça, même si je suis Biya, c'est mauvais. Mon frère, on n'a pas fini. Au-delà des universités identifiables, quand vous allez à Chang, le doyen de la faculté de sciences juridiques et politiques du Véleux est d'ici. Quand vous allez à Ngaoundéré, le doyen de la faculté de sciences juridiques et politiques, on en a est du centre. Nous, les Sawa, on n'a rien. On n'a pas de gouverneur, on n'a pas de préfet. On n'a pas de gouverneur, je l'ai dit. Maintenant, allons au sud. Pourquoi nous, à Douala, on donne quelqu'un du centre? Et au sud, on donne quelqu'un du sud. On ne peut pas nous donner aussi le sud. Vous comprenez que ça gêne. Je vous dis que c'est pénible. Et je n'ai pas touché d'autres secteurs. Quand je sors de là, j'observe un peu la diplomatie. J'arrive, regardez les grandes ambassades. Paris, c'est un gars du centre, Ekumo. Berne, c'est Bindi, il est du centre. Même fois qu'on est comme Paris. Genève, c'est mon frère et mon ami Eyet Salomon, il est du centre. Bruxelles, c'est évident, il est bourg. Tokyo, c'est Haïti, il est du centre. Washington, c'est Sumba, il est du centre. Quand vous allez même encore à côté, allez voir les Pays-Bas, c'est Madame Ondoa, elle est du centre. Où est l'unité fonctionnelle de l'État?
Bon, laissez,
et vous croyez donc que...
Laissez Galim Bekem.
Have you heard that? He went out to ambassadors and demonstrated to you beyond reasonable doubt that in all major consular stations, Bulu est Kampeti. And he asked, where is national unity? One and indivisible. My people of Ambazonia, we have lived this carnage. We have lived and are living this torture. We have lived and are living through this dehumanization. We have lived and are living through this horrible kind of systemic exclusion. We cannot afford to bequeath this as legacy to our children, to future generations of Southern Cameroons. Everywhere in the world where we see the people living in an egalitarian society, where people enjoy equal rights before the law, where people have equal opportunities, it is because people fought. And they were not fighting the best of conditions. They were also fighting through challenges. We saw that in apartheid South Africa. We saw a lot of people who turned against their own. We saw the division too that existed in the ranks of the black people who were fighting apartheid. Yet, one thing remains strong: the desire to overcome, the desire to secure freedom, the desire to break loose from the evil pangs of apartheid. And of course, they might not have scored 100% today with changes in their conditions, but the situation is no longer the same. They are now humans. They are now people in their own land. And as each year is going by, they are inching towards actually reclaiming their country. My people of Amazonia, we must not sit and think that things will get to that ideal moment, or that ideal situation, or that ideal manner of operation that we are expecting before we continue to finance the struggle, before we continue to put in effort to kick La République du Cameroun out of our land. No, people fought through those difficulties, fought through those challenges, and were able to overcome. We too can. Recall the French Revolution. Ever read the French Revolution? Where it got to the point where it seemed as if the revolutionaries turned against each other. You remember the guillotine? Danton and Robespierre, you remember? Go through the history of the French Revolution, and you will see how the people who were fighting to overthrow the monarchy at one point, it seemed as if they turned even against themselves. But at the end of the day, a good lot of the people never lost focus of what they wanted. That the storming of the Bastille was meant to end the tyranny of the monarchy. And of course, they finally ended it. It didn't happen in 1 year. It didn't happen in 2 years. It took time, but they got there. We have to be tenacious. We have to fight. We have to continue to remind ourselves on a daily basis that there are challenges that we will face. But we must face those challenges and overcome them so that we will deliver to future generations of Southern Cameroonians a free and independent country.
Pour répondre à cette
Donc
question,
vous comprenez que c'est une construction que nous devons corriger. Parce que si nous voulons consolider notre unité, je n'ai pas touché d'autre corps. Et je m'abstiens. Je n'aurai pas le courage de mon frère, le maître Tchapi, qui a parlé de l'armée. Mais quand vous voyez quand même que le ministère de la Défense, c'est le centre, le FED, c'est le centre, la DGSN, c'est le centre, ben écoutez, c'est pas moi qui le dis, c'était un rapport de la FBI qui lui l'a seulement lui aussi, où il y a 10 ans, on parlait de l'hégémonie Betty. Ma mère, Betty,
So you see that? I don't even want to continue. You see, he touched the military a bit, and he tells you everything is Bulu Ekambeti, Minister of Defense Center. That's Bulu Ekambeti. Delegate General for National Security is 93 years old. Bulu Ekambeti. The Secretary of State at the Gendarmerie, Bulu Ekambeti. All of them, Bulu Ekambeti. The DGL, Director General of External Research, Bulu Ekambeti. The Director of Semil, I think that's the only one where you have Bamkwi there and all of those. But all the rest are Bulu Ekambeti. Look at the number of generals. 98% of them. Bulu Ekambeti. Look at the top guys of the military. Bulu Ekambeti. Everything. Bulu Ekambeti. All Bulu Ekambeti. That's what it is. And if they can do that to even themselves, what would they not do to you? And you are there calling some nonsense and national unity, one and indivisible. Vivre ensemble. My dear people of Ambazonia, I will let go Mesanganyamding because if we want to continue digging into it, it's just too much. It's just too much. I mean, it's just too much. Because you talk about state corporations, key state corporations. Look at the media sector, small sector. Minister of Communication, Bulu Ekam Beti. Director General of CRTV, Bulu Ekam Beti. Director General of Cameroon Tribune, that's the Sopekam, Bulu Ekam Beti. Director of the National Printing Press, Bulu Ekam Beti. All of them, board chairman of CRTV, Bulu Ekam Beti. Everything is Bulu Ekam Beti, Bulu Ekam Beti. All. There's no place for you there. I'd better listen to the late barrister Bernard Achumuna, who said, let them fight. Let them bloody fight for their future. Because the future is theirs. These members of the CPTM crime syndicate, Regina Mundi, all those people, John Gute, Fu Gentry, Fu Jonathan, Bella Moki, Musonge, Peter Mafani, Peter Mafani, Mukete, all of their future is behind them, completely behind them. Yeah, totally behind them. We have to fight for what we believe in, and we have to be deliberate about it, my people. Don't always forget this. Always remember this, that evil people always support each other. That is their chief strength. Evil people always support each other. That is their chief strength. That's why they will always be united against you and I. So, it is an existential fight, and we must never lose sight of that. I want to thank each and every one of you who stayed on to watch this broadcast. Share the link as much as you can, and let's reach as many people as we can. And let's continue to be strong. To God be all the glory.